for joining us at this time. This is news analysis coming to you on Politics and Business Television. The headlines: Hunger protest rattled federal government. Wanted Britain speaks from UK. Nigeria's oil output rises as Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries struggles to meet targets. PDP governors, Wike may clash as National Working Committee meets Wednesday. Details coming up shortly. Welcome back. I am Idris Amina. Now the news. Let's begin with the British national declared wanted on Monday by the Nigeria police, Andrew Wayne, for allegedly plotting to overthrow President Bola Tinubu's administration, has denied the allegation, saying he was not even aware he had been labeled a fugitive. The rebuttal comes a few hours after the Nigeria police placed a 20 million bounty on his head, along with a Nigerian, Lucky Obian, who was described as an accomplice. Addressing journalists on Monday, the spokesperson Muyiwa Adejobi accused the Britain of building a network of sleeper cells to topple the government and plunge the nation into chaos. But when declared that he couldn't have been scheming to destabilize the leadership of a country that accommodated him for 25 years. Wayne's wife also spoke on the program, distanced her husband from the alleged terror act, saying the allegation was deliberately concocted for witch hunt. She blamed a certain Olumide as the brain behind the raid on her husband's bookshop at the NLC complex and the attempt to frame her husband. In another news, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries oil outputs fell in August to its lowest since January, a Reuters survey found has shown. The survey released on Monday stated the unrest that disrupted Libyan supply added to the impact of ongoing voluntary supply cuts by other members and the wider OPEC Plus alliance. The survey disclosed that OPEC pumped 26.36 million barrels per day last month, down 340,000 bpd from July, saying this was the lowest total since January 2024. A drop in Libyan exports and production amid a standoff between political factions over control of the central bank was said to have helped boost oil prices, and sources said increase the prospect that OPEC will proceed with a planned output hike from October. Libya had provided the largest supply loss of 290,000 bpd last month. Output was disrupted at the Sahara field early in the month and at more fields towards the end, trimming output to an average of 900,000 ppd, according to the survey. Other declines reportedly came from Iraq, which lowered exports in August and is seeking to boost compliance with its OPEC targets. Iran has been boosting exports in the last few years, and Nigeria is also among the countries posting higher output. There was a small increase in Nigeria, which boosted exports. The survey found that OPEC pumped about 220,000 bpd more than the implied target for the 9 members covered by supply cut agreements, but Iraq still accounting for the bulk of the excess. Meanwhile, barring last-minute changes, the People's Democratic Party Governors Forum and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, may be heading for a showdown as the party's National Working Committee meets on Wednesday. Governance in Rivers State has been partially affected for months due to the ongoing political conflict between Wike and Governor Siminalayi Fubara, both of whom are PDP members. The field has caused a split within the State House of Assembly, with a faction led by Martin Amehule supporting Wike, while the other faction led by Victor Okojumo is loyal to Fubara. despite efforts by President Bola Tinubu and other prominent figures in Rivers State and across the country to mediate, the conflict persists, with the factions engaging in multiple legal disputes in Port Harcourt and Abuja courts. According to reports, despite a court injunction stopping the PDP from holding congresses in Rivers State, the Ambassador Umar Damagum-led NWC conducted the Congress, which handed control of the Rivers State party structure to Wike. In an open letter addressed to the party leadership, former Federal Commissioner for Information and South-South leader Chief Edwin Clark accused Wike of using his close relationship with Tinubu to mount undue pressure on Fubara and the PDP. The PDP governors also expressed support for Fubara, urging the party's NWC to grant him rightful position as the leader of the party in the states. This is news analysis coming to you live on Politics and Business Television. Still to come, federal government denies urging NNPC to raise fuel price. Details of this and more after the break. Welcome back. In another development, the federal government has denied the report suggesting that the Ministry of Petroleum Resources ordered the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to sell fuel at 1,000 naira and above the approved pump price. The report claimed that the Minister for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lakpobiri, gave the NNPCL the directive, dismissing the report in a statement signed by the Special Advisor, Media and Communication to Lakpobiri, Nemika Okafor. On Tuesday, the FG declared that the report was concocted and ill-conceived to sow discord and confusion in the oil industry. The statement stressed that there was never a time the FG interfered with petroleum pricing with NNPC, let alone give directions for price increments. And meanwhile, the Dangote refinery, a $20 billion project spearheaded by billionaire Aliko Dangote, has officially begun petrol production, marking a significant milestone in Nigeria's energy sector. This development is expected to alleviate the ongoing petrol scarcity that has gripped the nation, offering much-needed relief to millions of Nigerians. This refinery will fuel growth, development, and prosperity by supplying energy to our people, said Aliko Dangote, president of the Dangote Group, during a press briefing on Wednesday. Dangote expressed gratitude to President Bola Tinubu's administration for fostering an environment conducive to the success of the initiative. He salutes the people of Nigeria and President Bola Tinubu's government for creating the conditions that allowed him to achieve this monumental task. This refinery will drive growth, development, and prosperity by providing energy to the people, he stated. He also praised Tinubu for the Naira for Crude, Naira for Products initiative, which he believes will stabilize the Naira by reducing the demand for dollars by 40%. And in another news, the federal government may spend approximately 188.25 billion annually to subsidize electricity supply for about 75 public tertiary hospitals and 300 educational institutions across the country. This follows the federal government's approval of a 50% subsidy for electricity consumed in public hospitals and tertiary education institutions nationwide. In April, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission announced an increase in electricity tariff paid by Band A customers from 68 naira per kilowatt per hour to 225 naira per kilowatt per hour, which was a 300% increment. Band A customers enjoy electricity supply for at least 20 hours per day. Most public tertiary hospitals and education institutions in Nigeria are under this band. However, many of these institutions had cried out over soaring electricity bills following the new policy. After a report on the excruciating effects of these unaffordable bills, the federal government on Thursday approved a 50% subsidy for the electricity consumed in hospitals and universities. The decision follows the promise by the Minister of Power, Adebayo Ajelabu, that the federal government would subsidize electricity in hospitals and government-owned education, tertiary institutions, even if they are a band A feeders. Still, this is news analysis coming to you live on Politics and Business Television. Kidnapping in Nigeria has become more lethal, with 1,056 people killed in 1,130 reported kidnap incidents. On average, someone is killed each time there is an attempted kidnap. Welcome back. Nigeria's security environment has become increasingly complicated as armed groups and unofficial entities take advantage of the state's diminishing authority. Kidnapping has emerged as a major issue across the country, with certain regions experiencing notably higher incidences of this crime. This includes Boko Haram's resurgence in the northeast, armed gangs in the north central and northwest, secessionist violence in the southeast, and gang-related issues in the southwest. Kidnapping for ransom has become a prevalent issue across these regions. At least 7,568 Nigerians were abducted in 1,130 incidents in the past year, with bandits demanding nearly 11 billion naira in ransom, according to the reports. Between July 2023 and June 2024, no fewer than 7,568 people were abducted in 1,130 incidents across the country. The pool for high net worth individuals has shrunk. This makes everyone, including the bourgeoisie, students, infants, etc., a target. SBM Intel also pointed out that the rising number of kidnapping incidents reflects widespread poverty and ongoing economic issues in Nigeria. Of the 1,130 reported kidnapping cases, Zamfara, Kaduna, and Katsina have the highest numbers of incidents and victims. Zamfara recorded 132 incidents with 1,639 victims. Kaduna had 113 incidents with 1,113 victims, and Katsina reported 119 incidents with 887 victims. These three states also have the highest number of civilian deaths. In the year under review, in this report, kidnapping has become more lethal, with 1,056 people killed in 1,130 reported kidnap incidents. On average, someone is killed each time there is an attempted kidnap. The FCT has the highest ransom demands, followed closely by Lagos and Kaduna. When comparing geopolitical zones, the Southeast has the highest ransom paid and collection rates overall. This year, as in previous years, kidnappers have continued to demand in-kind payments from victims' families, ranging from food, drinks, and cigarettes in the south to motorcycles in the north. One thing that may cause problems in future is that kidnappers are increasingly breaking trust. More than 4 ransom bearers have been killed and 3 others abducted this year. And if this trend persists, it may get more challenging to find people eager or willing to deliver ransoms on behalf of victims. A notable feature of this year's kidnapping incident is the prevalence of mass abductions, kidnap events in which at least 5 people were abducted, particularly in the north. From January to June, there have been 135 mass abduction incidents involving at least 5 victims per incident, with 3,277 people kidnapped and 125 killed. welcome back. Joining me to analyze the issue of kidnapping in the country is Malam Getso, a security analyst who will be joining us on the program for today. My first question for you, sir, is with all the security measures on ground, why does insecurity still persist in the country?
There are several reasons why the insecurity in Nigeria persists, despite all efforts. One, negligence and sabotage. Two, inability of the government to hold people given responsibility accountable for what has been happening by making sure that there is, number three, a lack of effective system of reward and punishment based on performance and based on the responsibility assigned. Number four, institutional failure or system failure, because the security operating system in the country need to be totally overhauled. I'm not interested in changing the service chiefs or head of security at any level, but I am with view of the need for holding them accountable for the responsibilities they are given. Number four, there is need for a lack of coordination, poor coordination mechanism, inefficiency in terms of partnership, collaboration with the public, in the sense that the public are losing trust and confidence on providing intelligence and information to the services simply because of inability to protect those who blow the whistles.
Okay.
And number five, the corruption within the cycle of the security operatives, which has been alleged many times, and yet no action has been taken. And it's not only in the security cycle, the corruption in Nigeria is eating us deep. We are diving in, but rather we are saying that we are making progress.
So what is the role of the citizens, the individual, in curtailing this issue of kidnap?
Sorry, come again?
What is the role of common individual, common people in the society in curtailing this kidnap?
The role of the society in curtailing kidnap in the country is enormous, and it is as many as possible. One of which the public are expected to provide information, provide intelligence. The public are expected to provide operational guidelines, guidance for security operatives, especially those who are transferred or come from other part of the world that is not the same part of where the security, the environment is. And then the public to also share feedback, especially now that we have the social media. I expect those playing role in the social media to do much in terms of providing feedback, in terms of dealing with the situation, in terms of providing feedback to the general public, even creating propaganda that will help the quality of services and the quality of understanding by the other part of the public to know that the security are doing something very well and they need to be supported.
Okay, that's been said. What is the role of the government now in curtailing this issue?
The role of the government is to ensure unique policy, is to ensure the implementation of those unique policies, is to ensure practical tracking of assigned responsibilities and ensuring that whosoever is found wanting is punished accordingly, and those who are found doing well should be provided with a reward so that others can be motivated. That will serve as a motivating factor and the originating guidance, and then ensuring that the social welfare of the personnel is provided, and also the government is expected to recruit more hands that will help the system to work. Because one of the gaps that we have is the fact that the system is not working well simply because of inadequacy of the personnel and inability of the government or the anti-corruption, anti-graft agencies, anti-corruption code of conduct courts and bureaus are not doing their work very well. So if those things, agencies, especially the anti-graft, the anti-corrupt agencies, will sit up to their responsibility, definitely there will be change and improvements in the system. And at the same time, it is expected of the government to also provide an enabling environment for operating procedure and ensuring that whosoever is found wanting is dealt with accordingly, whosoever he is, no matter how highly placed the person is, and so on and so forth. And at the same time, government need to fix the judiciary, because the judicial system in Nigeria is not working well. It's very ineffective. There are a lot of allegations of corruptions, the inability of the judicial officers to do their job very well, and lack of reward and punishment in the judicial service, among other things. When I talk about recruitment of personnel, at least minimum of 100 should be recruited per polling unit.
Okay.
So if you have 10 polling units in one political ward, 100 times 10 will give you 1,000. And if you have 10 political wards in a local government, 1,000 times 10 will give you 10,000.
Okay.
So if this will be replicated to at least minimum of 500 local governments that we have in the country, this will help in distributing this between those between the age of 17, 20, 22, and 25. Those who can understand English should be given a training to understand the meaning of left, right, about one another, consequential training procedure. And those who cannot understand English should be trained in
and so on and so forth. Is the north higher compared to other geopolitical zones in the country?
Sorry, come again?
I said the rate of kidnap and killings in the north is very high compared to other geopolitical zones in the country. Why this?
What's your question on it?
I said the rate of kidnap and killings in the north is higher compared to other zones. Why this?
It is because of the historical antecedents. The kidnapping activity started more and more prominent and became more prominent in the northern part of the country. The governors, the local government administrators, and the federal government itself, as well as the security formations operating within the system of the local government, the context of the northern Nigeria, have not been effectively doing their job. I am not condemning them. I'm not saying they have not been delivering. I'm not saying that they lack the capacity. I'm not saying that they are not doing what they're supposed to do. I am commending them. But because of inadequacy of the personnel in terms of number, because of inability, giving them responsibility and taking off of the authority, because of injustice, because of inability of the judicial system to operate well, because of the corruption within the industry, because of the motivation, the business is becoming a lucrative business like more of the oil and other things, because of inability of the judicial system to deal with the situation accordingly, because of the inability of the government at all levels to deal with those who are found wanting in terms of contributing directly or indirectly, in terms of informers, in terms of armed traders, armed vendors, armed transporters, armed movers, and the rest of them.
So all this contribute
doing very well in dealing with them.
The rate of killings is higher in the north compared to other zones in the country.
Yeah, these are the reasons that I mentioned.
Yes.
They have not been
handled well. So due to time factor, let me just take this quickly. As a security analyst, what is your thought on this? Do you think it's politically inclined or is poverty driven?
It's a combined. There is poverty, there is illiteracy, and there is security, and there is issues of gaps between the poor and the rich, and there is also inability of the system to provide to be kind of effective in terms of operation and implementation.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Malam Getso. Thank you for always joining us, and that'll be the size of the program for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and always come back for trending news on politics, business, and much more. I am Idris Amina. Bye for now.